Welcome back to Tools and Track. What the f have I got myself into? I hope it's as easy as that in real life. My hair is getting worse than Donald Trump's. I think I'm going to have to deal with this. Change of plan, completely. Don't like that there. Interior still isn't sold. So that is now going to live up there, kind of facing up and down the way, just that's out of the way. All the other stuff, like the engine and whatnot, that's pulled in here. That's probably going to go in this corner, where this used to be. And then, remember how I said it'd be handy to keep them in wheels? That'll make things a lot easier. Why is the size? Jeez. Can't see me washing a car this century. You're the chosen one! You were supposed to clean up mess, not create it. Creeper in a jack. Looks smarter, not harder. What do you think? That look like a good place to build a car? So in the end of our last episode, we got this bench ready. Now we've just moved it. It's time for us to start building. Like chopping and welding. Like making an actual car. So, I'm going to clear all this loom out of the way and we're going to start looking at some tooling that we're going to require to make this work. This will be a recommendation but not an absolute stipulation that you will require this. Mainly because I'm going to try some of the cheaper stuff that nobody seems to have the balls to do. And I'm going to start with the cheapest of the cheap. Come with me. We've all seen these, haven't we? On eBay. Why buy a bench grinder when you can buy a bench and attach a grinder to it? I mean, how bad can this possibly be? A tenner was worth, and this will cut straight. This, in theory, should work. It's got the capability to cut parallel and to do angles. The question is, will it? But first, we're going to need steel. A lot of it. 46 metres of it, to be precise. Now this is, as per the book stipulates, inch by inch, 1.6mm thick. It looks fairly chunky in here, but in real life, that's really thin. I hope these triangulation things are going to work. If it doesn't, I've got plenty of spare steel. Let's see what this thing looks like. I'm going to say garbage, but let's hold off judgment before actually trying it. And on to that 10 quid budget, Allen keys is part of it. So, what isn't as a result of that? Instructions will be hilarious, no doubt. What's this already broken stuff? Look at that. Not even out the packet. Not even out the packet, and it's shagged. Oh no, it comes with Allen keys because it is Allen key adjust. I see. I've done what every guy does. How does this go together? Instructions, bend. Right, no, actually I'm going to look at the instructions. I don't care what you think. I need to know. People have to know. What I'm going to say about this is it gives you the ability to do angles. What it is not going to do is give you them accurate off of this. We'll need some measuring tools to make sure that what this is telling us is actually true. I'm presuming this has adjustment in it, depending on the thickness of your grinder, more than anything else. How are you actually meant to turn the angle grinder on? Ah, no, that's probably the bit I should have done first. Or should I use the instructions? Man. That's gonna be unfun. There's only one way to find out, boys. But I'm pretty stoked with that. We have two sets of plans here. This guy is the one that I printed out. Now this is made by Voodoo Auto Kits and it's specifically for an MX-5. This guy, that's the original book plans. So what we're going to do all the way through this build is actually pull a wee comparison between the two of these. Now I'm about to make my first cut in the steel and we're going to go for this bar here because it's nice and simple, and then probably this bar here. The reason being they're both straight cuts, we don't need like a compound angles yet. But I'm just comparing as we go, and I'm pleased to say that both of these actually measure the same. You will know if you're going to use this one, you actually have to do a bit more math because the cuts aren't detailed. So you're having to like take off 25.4mm for each, inner cut to outer cut. This guy, however, much easier to work with. We've got our homebrew 15 quid's worth of bench cutter, all set up as neat as possible. Now I've done a bit of measurement here just to make cuts repeatedly simple. Now this will have to cut completely parallel when it comes down, so it looks alright, but what I've got is a small set square, and I've run it from the base here, where we're going to put this steel, up the side of the disc, and I've got no gaps. But similarly, I've mounted it on here and checked this profile of the disc too, so that each side, lengthways and heightways, is going to be correct. This will take a bit of flying around, by the way. You'll see I've also got a considerable amount of steel to hang off the back, so we've had to use 2 benches and set heights and all sorts, but we're in a good place. Choppy choppy. So those 2 bits of steel are pretty much the only straight sections in the entire base of the car. Now we need to see if this thing goes angles. Let's start with a 45, that's nice and simple, isn't it? I've got no faith that this wee cast steel guy is going to be 45 degrees on the nose, so we will check this. So there's the claimed 45 degrees. Oh, here you are, on the fucking nose, boy. Hey, your gaps. Right, that should work. He says not convinced in the slightest. This noise you hear in the background is a mechanical rotor, by the way. Now, what we should do is check in the book and see if there's one that's got a 90 degree to a 45 degree, so I don't waste any steel here. Oh, there is! LR5 and LR6. And they are the bars that come from here back. Right, okay. So what size? What size? Let's get to the point. 813 millimeters. So if I'm going to add 100mm on from a little offset that I do with my G-clamp, and the good thing about this, because I've got 2, that's not something, well, one bigger thing, will it? Then I'll need to reset it back to 0. Well, at least we'll have 2 45mm clips, that won't waste much. Right, you need to dry, and then you measure it out. Ever so slightly short when you put it to the maximum angle setting. That's going to be a problem. I guess we're going to have to finish the rest of this by hand. If this measures 45 degrees, I will be stunned. It's not the worst. It's not bad. That seems close enough that I can get away with it. However, on this side, not so much. But if you look down here, I think if we clean up a lot of the burrs on that, it'll pull in. It's pretty straight on everything else. Before I go cleaning it up though, I'm just going to check all these measurements. To explain the G-clamp, by the way, these things on the end are tremendously unreliable. Most of them are actually slack anyway. This one's actually bent in. So I take away this as being my 0 datum on a measuring tape, and I add 100mm onto the end so I can see absolutely where 10 centimetres has been lost. And then I just clamp the guy down. And then onto the other end, I add 10 centimetres onto my total measurement. So the metal doesn't need to come off this one, it needs to come off that. Right, got a good chunk out. We're going to obviously have a fight getting this spar because it's such a shallow angle, but we'll get to that. Not this isn't one of these mad scientists. We'll get there. What I do have though is a 45 degree and a 45 degree to cut off with these spars, LR17s. Now, the problem I've got with this, as we've seen, is that the angle grinder's not really doing the greatest of jobs on that. So we're going to do it by hand. How bad can it go? Hells yeah, boy. It's good enough. That's the main thing. Okay, there's one spar to run here, one to run there. I think we're ready to start tack welding. It's just these spars that need to be finished. The ones with the mad, really shallow angle. Ones, as you can tell, I'm really excited to do. Okay, following a quick trip to the little isle. Here's a time saver. Okay, that's everything cut out, so we're in a positive place and we're ready to weld. I'm going to put a pin in this and we're going to start the welding in the next episode, but the base is all ready to go. Before we wrap up, I did mention that we're going to keep a running tally of everything we spend on this, so first purchase needs to go on the board. We've got 8 6-metre lengths of steel that we've picked up. That wasn't free, sorry to say, unlike the entire MX-5 it was. So, first cost on the board is steel, 175 quid. We are now nearly 20% into the total budget of this car. We will need more steel, don't get me wrong. I'm planning on making all the wishbones out of tube rather than square section, and there'll be other bits and bobs and brackets. But for the moment, that's not too bad. Big thank you to everyone who's taken up our Patreon from the last episode. I have been overwhelmed with the amount of love for this project and the amount of people who have joined in and wanted to be a part of it. To all of those who have joined Patreon, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Everyone that hasn't, link in the comments below, get on it and you can get your name on this board and be on future episodes of Tools and Track. Thanks for watching. Subscribe down here, next episode down here. Catch you in the next one. Cheers guys.